I want to mention something to you since I have you here. It's well documented of your influence in the punk scene and all that. But you know what I don't like that you never get credit for? Is the subgenre of extreme metal. You were very, very instrumental in those fledgling years of extremity metal. Why are you never necrorized by that? I mean, if you talk to Slayer or the guys from Exodus or the Metallica guys, they all mention it.
I love Slayer. I love Exodus. Exodus and Destruction and my favourite bands, favourite metal bands. And it's like I don't know. It's funny you say that because like when we started, a lot of the criticism we got was Exploited or a thrash band. And that's what they say, because like, back then was like, oh, you're a thrash, because we played fast, or you're a thrash band, that's no punk rock, all the kids, people didn't like us, go, oh, that's not punk rock, that's fucking thrash. But the Exploited, we've always played fast, and there's a borderline between thrash and punk. Some of our songs were like on the borderline, but to me that was aggression, and we'll never lose that, we'll always have that, we'll never lose that.
That's one thing that I wanted to point out. Aside from you being very influential in the punk realm, you've been very influential in many realms as far as being true and having integrity for oneself and one's art. Music, wide span. Did you know that Keanu Reeves is an Exploited fan?
Well, I can tell you a funny story.
Did you know that?
I got told that a couple of years ago, and then I got told. We played in America a long time ago, and I heard that he brought his records for me to sign, but I was so much away with my face that I didn't realise and I was maybe some girls so I never signed his records, right? So I didn't realise that. But Keith, I'm really sorry. Bring them along. I'll sign them. I love your movies, by the way. John Wick's fucking brilliant.
In all seriousness, Waddy is a man to be only...
That's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because somebody told me, I'm going, oh, fuck's sake, man.
Well, this is what I want to point out, is the fact that you always get credited for your punk influences, but your music has gone the scan from Slayer to Guns N' Roses to artistic actors like Keanu Reeves, and now within the last 10 years, it's become fashionable to wear punk attire shirts. Lindsay Lohan's walking around with your merchandise, and I mean that's great advertising.
I've seen some other like rap stars that with Exploited stuff. I'm glad, but to me, I find it weird because the first 15 years of Exploited, the only people liked us were the real hardcore punks. And then a lot of people hated us because we were too extreme, too violent, too fast, too obnoxious. And so everybody hated Exploited, they were scum. And then like, the last 15 years, we done Beat the Bastards, it just seemed to become popular to like the Exploited. And people would come up to me and say, oh, I really like your band. And I'm like, what the fuck, what do you want? I was taken aback, because I was never used to people saying I like your band. Seriously, no used to. A lot of people come. It's like normal people. You come up and say, oh, "I really like your band." I'm like that. What the fuck do you want? What the after? I mean, what? Because it took me about 2 years to think, oh, maybe it's true.
You know what? All these people that say they like your band, I'm going to see if you remember this. In 1985 at the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, that is when I first discovered you live. And let me tell you, to this day, I still have post-traumatic stress from that show, because at that time the LAPD was real, and at that time punk rock in Los Angeles was, as you had described, aggressive, violent, real energy.
You can't. It's like you can't explain. It's hard to explain that to people. Ask me what's the difference between punk then and now. It's a massive difference. It's like a war zone.
It's not. It wasn't safe back then.
No, it was like every night was like a fight night. It's always fights at our concerts, always violence. And it's like, I try to explain that to people, say, what's punk difference now? Well, back then, I loved it. I still love it. But back then, I loved it because it was just like so violent, so violent. Well, not so much for the violence, but just the energy, the violent energy. And everybody's having a great time in that.
Let me tell you, the fact that I listened to Sex and Violence, the influence and the psychological effect that it had in my head, now I'm a sadist when I make love. I want to thank you for that. But here's the deal. almost 40 years, Waddy has been doing what he was meant to do, which is to be real, sincere, raw, in your face. The Exploited music has touched, as we mentioned before, so many genres of music throughout the whole world. Throughout the whole world, in regions of the world where there's such political unrest, where just even going to an Exploited show is the expression of freedom for them, where they can launch off. And yet, sincerity, integrity has always been the main ingredient of the Exploited. Waddy, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me on the 5150. I wish you, as an adult, I wish you much health, positive healing energy. As an adult, I want to thank you for allowing me at that time to psychologically cling to what you had created to make me feel vibrant.
I mean, see what you said. When people like yourself say that to me, I've got people come and say that to me. I meant that the music meant something to them in their life. That's, it gives me goosebumps. It's like for me that makes me feel really good. It's better than money. You can't buy that. And that's like, it makes everything I've been through, all the hardships, all the struggle and all the fights, everything. It makes it worthwhile to me. People like yourself saying that. Thank you.
And bottom line, here's the deal.
Goosebumps too because you said that.
1985, I still have fond memories and post-traumatic stress from that show. Tonight here, the last day of the tour, you'll be going off to South America. New music will be coming out on Nuclear Blast when you sit down and write and record. But bottom line, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me and for being sincere and real in your art and your craft and how you live your life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you the best.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we're out.
Oh,